Hi guys, is oversparging really a problem when brewing? To find that out, I thought I should do an experiment. So what I decided to do was to brew 2 beers from one brew. To reduce the grain and also just to get crazy, I decided to reuse the hops. So I maxed out my mash pipe with 7 kilos of malt. It was 5.5 kilos of Pilsner malt, 0.7 kilograms of wheat malt, 0.4 kilograms of Munich malt, 0.2 kilograms of Melodium malt, 0.2 kilograms of Caribbean. I did a mash as usual, but I didn't sparge it. Instead, I just poured up the wort into another boiler and added some new water to the grains and did another 1 hour mash, and the second time I sparged. The first beer was to be an American pale ale, and the OG of that beer ended up with 1041. I did some hop additions on that beer, and I also did a big hop stand. And the second beer, I got an OG of 1037, and it's the second beer we're talking about today, because that is the one that could suffer from oversparging if that was a problem. 5 minutes left at boil of beer number 2. I just put the hop spider with all the hops from the previous boil into the boil and let it go for 5 minutes, and I stirred the hops, and then I did a hop stand as well before cooling it down. I will show you some footage of that. But we're 5 minutes the end of the boil for that one, so why don't we just reuse these hops. All the hops goes in at 5 minutes. This is one heck of an experimentation. Trying to stir up the hops. That was some short footage from the brew day. It would have been cool if I had 2 beers here. I know maybe I will come back to the experiment, but the first beer didn't turn out that good, so I poured that beer out. Too bad. And it was a while since I brewed this, but this is beer number 2, so we just gonna focus this experiment on oversparging if it is a problem. Beer number 1 I controlled in my fermentation fridge. I don't have the environment to control 2 brews at a time right now. I decided that second brew would be a saison, and I called this saison the second one. You can have a look at the label. This has an ABV of 4.4%, so it's quite sessionable. So it's a second running saison experiment, the second one. Then the idea from this experiment I've got from reading how beers used to be made before the Scottish invented sparging. Well, that's another story. So let's crack this one open and get it into a glass. Woof! There's carbonation in there. It's not a gusher, as you see. Sorry, Rusty. It's well carbonated. We have a massive head on there. carbonation goes crazy. I have to discard some of this foam. So, smells fresh. Some pepper tones there from the yeast. Let's dive in. I can't find any astringency or so. That maybe over-sparging would do. And I guess over-sparging could be a pH issue as well, depending on the pH of the mash, the pH of your sparge water, etc. For one, I control the pH of my mash and the pH of my sparge waters, so maybe that lets me off the hook. It's a quite refreshing beer. It has some sweetness. It's very fruity because of the yeast and the higher fermentation temperature. I can't really find anything wrong with it, so in my case, in my circumstances, I don't think over-sparging is an issue. Let's pour the rest in. It's almost crystal clear. It's a nice, refreshing brew. Of course, it was good that both beers didn't end up bad. Beer number 1 didn't get infected or anything like that. I just didn't like it. But this beer turned out okay. I wouldn't call it a fantastic beer, but it's an okay beer. And the thing wasn't so much about just the beer, it was more about the experiment. So cheers guys, thanks for watching. Is over-sparging a problem? No, I don't think so. Cheers, DrHans out.